Hello viewers, I'm Simon Christie and welcome to 4 Wheel Drive TV. Now this week on the show, a very special one. We take a close look, story number 2, on the power upgrades we've done on our 2 Colorados. We're also back in rural Victoria for the Readies 4x4 Mania. It's a hardcore 4x4 winch challenge event. A great episode coming your way. Let's get into it. Tread lightly, keep it safe, play hard.
Sunday, we had the road registered running down the same couple of SSs that they did on the Saturday afternoon, and they really enjoyed that. They were going to do the mega stage that we did with the winch challenge, but that was just way too much havoc. We had cars tipping over and broken CVs and broken diffs and bull bars ripped off. The mega stages really takes its toll on the cars. It's really one of them stages, just got to take it easy and try and make it home. We had our own Readies 4x4 motorsport team out here. They did a ripper job to get the cars around. They had a lot of dramas as I left Rod to prep the cars. We've been out here all week. So they did a ripper job to get the cars around and finally made the track and ended up with second place overall. So well done to Team Bidders for coming in first place. They had a terrific setup this year and really earned their first place. Great drivers and great cars and made around perfectly. So well done to them. The road reg cars we run this time was a great idea. You know, put some 35s on your patrol and a bit of a lift and a high mount and come out and have a crack. I think that class was it's probably the best class I like because it's young people getting involved in the sport that don't have the big dollar for big race trucks. So they're not all hot-headed and they're pretty easy to get along with. They come and have a race and ask what they can do to help, and it's a change from all your bigger guys that are really competitive to get some blokes out here that just want to have some fun and help out. So keep in touch and see when our next one's up that we're going to run the road reg class and come down and have a crack. And you know, it's really the cheapest way of racing with 4-wheel drive. Pretty extreme on a lot of the stages. On the big winch challenge stage at the end, we had 3 or 4 or 5 cars even at once parked up and trying to get through the creek, and cars on their sides and cars with dead motors, and yeah, it was just all chaos at once at some stage there. So it was really good the teams sort of help each other out and get out of the way so they can get through themselves. We had a pretty good turnout for Saturday night, even though it was freezing cold, and we didn't know what the weather was going to do, so we didn't advertise a heap, but we probably got about 300 or 400 people in the gate, which is good. It's nice and close being at Heathcote Park Raceway in Victoria. It's nice and close for people to come down from Melbourne and come out and watch. Another Readies 4x4 event done and dusted. We're finished up here for the weekend. Thank you everyone that come down and support us. Thanks for our sponsors. Big thanks to Full Drive TV for, once again, no one would know about us without Full Drive TV coming down and filming us and making us paddock heroes, basically. If you want to get on and keep up with our events, get on the Full Drive TV website or look up Readies 4x4 Motorsports on Facebook and like the page to keep up with all our full drive information on races we're doing and cars we're building. I'm Clint Reid and I look forward to seeing you at the next Reddys 4x4 Mania.
Hi, I'm Jackie from 360 Gearboxes and Diffs, and the question is, can you build your own gearbox? The answer is anyone can build a gearbox if you're mechanically minded. There's plenty of information out there on forums and instruction manuals. It's all about, do you have the expertise to put that gearbox together properly that it won't fail when you get that vehicle back on the road. Normally, the layperson would take their gearbox to a specialist. For example, at 360 Gearboxes and Diffs, that's all we do day in, day out. So we don't build a gearbox one day and then rebuild an engine the next day. We just build gearboxes day in, day out. So we've pretty much seen it all that can go wrong with these gearboxes. We've seen weaknesses in gearboxes and we've designed modifications, or there's modifications out there that we fit to gearboxes to address known weaknesses. A good gearbox rebuilder will always put a good warranty on their work, and if you have any problems, they should be absolutely willing to investigate the problem for you and find out what's caused the fault. You take your gearbox to a specialist mainly for security and comfort, so you feel comfortable that when you drive away you can go to the back of Burke and not get stuck anywhere. In our workshop we have over 50 years of experience in manual gearbox building. People ring up asking what tolerances we set on boxes, and most of our stuff's by touch and feel because the guys just know how to build so well. There's plenty of gearboxes out there that are sold as recode gearboxes. If you do buy one of those gearboxes online, I would ask for a list of all the new components used, and I would also ask the length of the warranty, and especially if you're buying interstate, I would ask what happens if your gearbox fails out of state. So if you're in Victoria and you're buying a gearbox from New South Wales, ask the seller what sort of warranty they will give you if that gearbox fails. I'm Jackie from 360 Gearboxes and Diffs. Thanks for listening.
Here we are, we've finished testing the two vehicles. We had the Colorado 7 wagon on first, and then we followed that with Simon's Red Ute. We had powers from about 117 to 119 kilowatts. What we did was run after run, just single power runs usually don't tell you a lot.
Just done the first dyno run. Car's come up reasonably well. Obviously after sustained heat loads you can see power dropping off and air-fuel ratio starting to really richen up. Shows a lack of performance of the intercooler. Even in these cold conditions today you can still see it heat soaking really badly.
And then towards the end there I just did a steady state run for maybe 2 or 3 minutes of fairly heavy load on the engine with no dyno fan. In effect getting everything nice and warm so we could get a bit of heat soak in.
Heat soak is the heat that builds up in the intercooler can't be dissipated by the intercooler simply because of the surface area or the performance of the intercooler. So on a really hot day, you're going to see power dropping off even more dramatically than it was today.
Things are getting warm. We're on a cold day here in Berrima. We haven't been towing in a 40-degree heat for 4 or 5 hours. So they're the sorts of considerations when you're a specialist in your field, you take into consideration when you're tuning these things. And we know these vehicles are going to be tested in those sorts of conditions. That's why Simon's here today, getting this sort of work done so that we can be sure that everything will work in those conditions for sustained loads and still be quite safe for the engine. It's about right. So pretty much we've done a good comparison with a standard Colorado in a lot of ways, and of course an already highly modified Colorado Ute. Now, if we look at when people come into us, they come in for diagnostics, they've lost their fuel economy and all sorts of things. If we start looking at these graphs, we can see why. So here's two graphs. The red graph is the ute, the lower one, because it's got the big tyres and all the accessories on. And the top graph, of course, was the Colorado 7 wagon. Now, it's pretty dramatic. We're starting off with 91 kilowatts in the Colorado 7. If we move our graph over to the starting of the ute, we're only 79, barely 80. So we were well over 10, 12, 14% nearly power difference just there. But I think the big one is if we come over to torque, we had the same starting engine speeds. It was about 1700 revs or so. We're about 780 newton meters torque, and yet we're struggling to have 642 newton meters out of the ute with the big tyres. So we've got to remember these vehicles are probably pretty comparable, even if there's a bit of difference just between them because of the engine. You can't get a mistake there. That is a huge torque difference, and that'll make the difference when you're pulling out of a boat ramp, you're trying to get off the mark with a caravan. It's those sorts of areas. Once you get going, everything starts to pull a little bit closer together. But it really shows you that when you put those accessories on, bigger tyres in particular, it's not the fault of the tyre, it's just something you should be aware of. And I think if you're aware of what your modifications do, then you can understand how you can either deal with it or how you can modify your vehicle, which is obviously what we're doing here at the moment. So we'll be looking at these baseline graphs here. The ute will be a good one because we'll be able to try and see if we can even get it with these mods back up to where the vehicle is running with all those mods on, if it can go back towards a standard vehicle. Now that sounds pretty hopeless. I've added thousands of dollars worth of accessories to get my vehicle back to its standard form, but you've got to remember there's been a lot of weight, big tyre sizes, those very simple things actually chew very heavily into power. They also chew very heavily into fuel economy, because if we're going up a hill and we need 700 newton meters of torque to get up there, well, if we go and look at this graph here, we'll easily do it in the Colorado 7. That's foot flat, so I can take the foot off and we'll get up the hill. But if we're in the ute and we need 700 to get up that hill, I'm foot flat and I still don't have enough. So all of a sudden, there's where our economy comes in. So you've just got to be aware, and if you're aware and educated in these mods and what they do to your vehicle, then I think you have a much better understanding to either cop it and just take it as it is, or do something about it, which again is what we're doing here. All right, if we have a look at these three graphs here, if we look at the red and the green, ignore the top one, I'll actually just get rid of that. Here's the Colorado ute. Standard is the red graph, the green is with the DP chip in there. Okay, we've certainly gained some power. We've gained about 10, 11 kilowatts. Probably gets a little bit bigger as we go up in the rev range. Even starting, not too bad. It's only 5 kilowatts, 6 kilowatts difference. But if it's standard 80, that's again getting towards even just 10% down there. So it's a nice power gain right through the graph. That's good. How does it equate in this discussion that we're in at the moment? I'll pull back in the Colorado 7. So if we pull the Colorado 7 back in here, all of a sudden we've now seen the peak power with the chip in at about 117 kilowatts. The peak power of the Colorado 7, about 118 kilowatts. So the chip, I guess you could say, has neutralised in some ways all those modifications. So we haven't got a hot tune in it. I don't want to do that because when we were doing testing, we can already see that we're richening the mixture up. So we want to keep things safe. We could probably go a lot more power with the chip. Let's have a look at that later on today, once we get the exhaust done and once we get Dave's intercooler system on. And if you go back here and look at the real power terms, you can probably see that, you know, that's offset. And I'm sure all the mods we do in some way, shape or form will go towards offsetting those bigger tyres. And look, really they're the culprit. We can't blame the tyre makers. It's just the fact we need these big tyres and we need the heavy off-road tyres for our travels across Australia. So again, as long as you're aware of it, you can deal with it. If you can't, it's another story. Probably if we just come back over to here for 1 second, that 700 newton metre hill that I talked about to get up it, we're getting closer with the chip in. Probably still foot flat, but we're getting more work done. So you know, again, let's see what happens later on today once we get these other accessories on.
Hi, my name's Mark and this is my 2003 Patrol. We've got basic accessories, winch, driving lights, UHF. It's got a heavy duty suspension for our work. We carry heavy equipment, tow trailers, equipment and so forth into the bush. We're planning on spending a bit of work on the exhaust and maybe have a look at the injector pump, try and get a bit more efficiency out of the old motor. It's been a fantastic ute for what we do. We work in the bush and spend a bit of time driving around off-road.
For information on how to be one of the lucky Your Rig winners, keep an eye on the 4 Wheel Drive TV Facebook page for updates. And each weekly winner takes home a copy of Blitz magazine, a copy of Wild Deer and Hunting Adventures magazines, an electric blue span set snatch strap, a Manel Motors stubby holder, a litre of emergency gear oil thanks to 360 gearboxes, a stubby of Bundaberg ginger beer, an Any-Sharp knife sharpener thanks to Kiesler, a set of the stronger than standard expander pegs, a 12-volt small device solar charger thanks to Roller Solar, a Mean Mother recovery strap and drying bag, a copy of Bow Hunter magazine, one of the new Nava pocket LED lights, a Nava Palm LED light, a DP chip stubby holder, a DP chip diesel power hat, a bottle of responsive additive thanks to Responsive Engineering, a pair of 4 Wheel Drive TV stickers, an ARB 4B and Ariel drink bottle, an ARB LED headlamp, a pair of handheld UHF radios in the Oricom UHF tradie pack, a bottle of Sweet Baby Ray's dipping, basting and marinating sauce. And it's all neatly packaged up in an ARB cargo gear carry bag.
I'd like to thank Simon Miranda for the fantastic day out, and we've had fun today, and thanks for the gifts.
How you going? I'm Jesse, this is Biff. It's our team, Pirates Life Off-Road Racing. Just down here at Readies, having an awesome weekend. Good fun racing. So we finished all the night stages out the front. Car ran like a dream. Came in on Saturday, raced all day. Car ran like a dream again.
How you going? My name's Ryan and I'm car number 1 of Essential Off-Road down at Reddys Mania.
Hi, I'm Brad. I'm with Grenade Racing, down here at Readies 4x4, competing in the Road Reg category in the Pro class.
G'day, I'm Shane from Masson Rangers 4x4. We're down at Readies 4x4 Mania. Just finished the last stage.
The tracks are very varied this weekend. We've had a lot of high-speed stages, but the old diesel didn't love too much. The partner in the LS1 creamed me. A lot of steep drop-offs, you know, lifting wheels and stuff, and just holding on for dear life, pretty much. This is the first time coming up to Reddys event. I've seen it on 4Drive TV before, and it looked pretty sick, and we come up to help him last week make the tracks, and you're like, oh, we'll give it a crack. So here we are.
It's really good that Readies is running this event, that Road Reg can enter. You don't have to have a comp truck. It's all organised really well. Everything's really cheap, within reason. So yeah, no, it's good. A couple $100 for entry and away you go. Obviously the drivers for supplying us our vehicles and for taking the navvies from the start to the finish line, because that's their job.
So it's pretty much out the back here of Heathcote Raceway, in and out of the creek mainly. There's a few night stages, a rally stage. That was the stadium trucks. That was a bit of fun. It's a bit boggy. It's a lot wetter than last year. Freezing, it was -2 last night. Heaps of winching. It's been pretty good. We're driving like the last stage, a 2-hour sort of like mega rally stage. We got into the second creek crossing, went to winch and we've lost power. Alternator doesn't seem to be working. We drained all 3 batteries and that was us for the weekend. Yeah, had to get recovered by the marshals and that's us, DNF for the weekend. This is our first Readies together. We raced last year in the black Junker, which is pretty much the same car.
Didn't have too many issues, only had to DNF one stage, but it was due to our teammate trying to jump on top of us. Didn't end quite well. That's about it.
I'd like to thank Clint Reed for organising a good event. Nice and boggy, and the weather was really cold last night. Apart from that, it was all right. It's just good to be out.
Hi, I'm Brad. I'm with Grenade Racing, down here at Readies 4x4, competing in the Road Reg category in the Pro class. This is our first event. We've got 2 GQs, both fuel injected, both fully locked. Got 37 Treps on one, 36 Cymexes with beadlocks on all, and 2 idiot drivers. Both drivers are afraid to get on the camera. The navvies do all the work. When you're waist deep in water because the driver can't drive, that's when you know it's all the navvies. The track's been awesome, been really fast. We raced in the stadium last night, us against the clock, but we raced as a team, except for they didn't realise that we were racing against the clock, so they were pushing each other as hard as they could until Benny hit the wall really hard. Yeah, but we won, so it was okay. I'd like to thank the pit crew, Guy, Mark, Pip, Sarah. You guys have been really helpful. We'll be back next year, definitely, guaranteed.
Well, unfortunately, the end of this week's episode. Tune in next week for more of your favourite 4Drive TV. I'm Simon Christie. Tread lightly, keep it safe, play hard. I look forward to your company next week.